Good evening everyone, welcome to round 8 of the Renault Mégane Trophy here with Power Max Racing, hosted by NXTGEN. I'm JackTM53, your commentator as always for this championship, and we're here at Blue Moon Speedway in Field A. Got a lot of exciting action going on around this circuit tonight. First time the Méganes have come here before. And Ruddo at the moment, who's shared all the screen time, and I suspect that's because I've just had a few issues in setting it up in terms of getting ready. But we're underway now, and Ruddo currently has provisional pole. We're only a minute and a half away from the session end, so Ruddo currently with a 600th of a second gap ahead of Hirakram, who's in second place. Jainio's third, he's getting a slipstream from Bruce Lee Harden in fourth. Skiver currently running in 5th place. Then there's JPH99, he's in 6th currently. Then you've got Matty Rudd in 7th place. P Gib in 8th. There's KZ2 Haas in 9th, and that is your order. But Ruddo, who's had the bulk of the screen time, will ride on board with him because he's effectively covered qualifying for us so far. So here we come, round the final corner. Very long, sweeping, double-handed corner here. Round turn 9, then through turn 10, then down this main straight. See what his lap time he sets as he comes towards the line. Looks like it could be a good time. 1 minute 8 certainly, and it's a 1 minute 8.8. But here he comes into turn 1. Difficult corner to get right because of the banking. It takes a later apex, 154 mile an hour, down into 4th gear. Good line from Ruddo there, using all of the banking on the inside as well as the corner. Clips the car through turn 2. It's a downshift to 4th and then into turn 3. Then through turn 4, this right-hander. Coming through this very quick little kink at turn 5 and then down on the brakes into 3rd gear at turn 6. And you got this another double left-hander here, 7 and 8, down into 2nd gear. Really nicely done from Ruddo, kept the car clean as Hirakram goes even quicker now. And we are at the end of qualifying. And then through into turn 9. Oh, he's going to hit the wall, and that's the end of Ruddo's lap. And that's going to prevent him from getting pole position. What about Jainio and Bruce Lee Harding? Let's see what times they set. And come towards the line. You just watch Jainio and Bruce Lee coming around this final corner. 1 minute 8.4 is what's being set currently, but there's going to be no improvement. What about JPH? Can he improve? He can't. That's his lap over and done with. P Gibbs giving up. We've already seen the checker flag. KZ2 Haas isn't going to improve. So NXTGEN Hirakram takes another pole position. Fantastic qualifying right at the end for him. Just managed to pull it out of the bag, but here we go into the race. Right, so we got Hirakam on the right hand side in that green and yellow Joyce design car. There's Ruddo on the left and the black and red Geiser car. It's 20 minutes on the right hand side, and here are the numbers. And the race is live from Blue Moon Speedway. Looks like a really good start from Hirakam. Fantastic even. Sprints away at the start. Ruddo slots in behind in second. Bruce Lee in third. Jainio in fourth position. We're just looking to see where JPH is. He's got up to fifth place. He's got past P. Gibb. Matty Rudd's gone backwards. That's Haas in the wall in the background, so not ideal for the drivers. But so far so good. Nice and clean from the cars. Let's see if we can get all of these cameras back in where we need them. And at the moment there's Matty Rudd just in 7th place. You've got the two Bumblebee cars almost side by side here, and Pete Gibb trying to go around the outside, maybe even looking to get a nice run coming out of turn 6, and he is. Look at Matty Rudd trying to go on the outside for turn 7. That's not going to work. Gibb in the prime position here to get the position. A little bit of lag. Looks like he's just about cleared JPH, but Matty Rudd's just looking to get involved in this as well through turn 9. Cuts the corner. Oh, Jordan in the wall. That's going to send him backwards. He's not going to be pleased about that. And JPH down to 8th. Skyver taking advantage, and he got the best exit out of anyone. So Matty Rudd is doing a great job in terms of defending as they're 3 wide down the main straight. To Skyver, going to try and go through the middle of everyone. Whether he could pull that off. Oh, Matty Rudd still on the inside. Gibb jumped out of it. But the Skyver holds 6th place. Matty Rudd in 5th then. And Jainio and Bruce Lee were side by side going through turn 1 as well. And Bruce Lee runs a little bit wide coming out of turn 4. Very difficult corner for the drivers to navigate. It's going to put him on the defensive going into turn number 6. And that's Jainio up the inside. Contact. Kind of pushes Bruce Lee out of the way and goes into 3rd. So Bruce Lee not too pleased with that. And sure enough, wow, that is what we call, well, some people would call professional foul, ladies and gentlemen. Bruce Lee certainly aggrieved, and I said he would have been. Jainio just sort of pushed him completely wide for 3rd place, and Bruce Lee returning the favour there. Matty Rudd still in 5th. The front 2 of Hirakam and Ruddo still running neck and neck at the moment. You can see Ruddo just closing in on the slipstream. This might be a chance for him to look into turn 1. He's going to. Will he be able to make the move stick? 2 lines through turn 1. Ruddo's on the inside. But Hirakam looking to do the switch back underneath him, and sure enough, he pulls that off. So Hirakam goes into the lead again. Ruddo briefly took the 1st place, but that's quickly been taken away from him again. He's got a nice run through turn 4. Good effort so far. And you can see Hirakam just doing his utmost to keep on to this lead at the moment. You can see Hirakam and Ruddo there taking different lines. Ruddo not quite being able to mount an attack just yet. You can take so much curb through turn 9. There's no track limits realistically at that corner. You can take any line you want really, and look, here we go with the slipstream once again. Ruddo going to be right on the tail of Hirakam as he comes towards turn 1 once more. The fastest lap from Ruddo as well as he slides alongside Hirakam, pushes Hirakam as far to the wall as he possibly could to stop him from turning in. No switchback this time, and Hirakam gets overtaken down into 2nd place then. He goes, not ideal. And Bruce Lee now has a nice train behind him. Matty Rudd's up to 4th place, so we haven't seen the chaos going on behind us because Jainio's down into 5th place. He's behind, obviously, Bruce Lee and Matty Rudd. He tries to look and make a move at turn 6, not quite. There's P. Gibb in 6th. And you've got 7th place of JPH. He's got Skyver right behind him. Looking quite good so far. And then 9th place, of course, KZ2 Haas, who's just hanging on to the back of the group at the moment, which is really positive news. Now, I mentioned earlier I haven't looked at the championship standings as Hirakam goes to look at the inside line. Will he look to go and get a move completed? He's going to try it. Ruddo swings to the outside. keeps the inside line, does Hirakram. It's tighter, but he couldn't allow Ruddo any chance to get a switch back, and he didn't there, so Hirakram up into the lead once again. Now, for context, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, I have not seen the results from last week in terms of who won the races from Suzuka East, so I'm only aware of the championship standards as Jainio now up into third place. It's got past Bruce Lee and Matty Rudd, and Bruce Lee under pressure now from Matty Rudd. Well, I'm aware that Bruce Lee leads the championship at the moment. Oh, Bruce Lee a little bit deep going into turn 8. Needs to score as many points as he can realistically. He needs Ruddo to help him out to keep in touch with his championship dreams. Gibb right there as well. JPH just can't quite tag on to the back of everyone at the moment. And that's Ruddo who's retaking the lead going into turn 1. So great effort from Ruddo. I think Hirakram's going to do the switch back again this time, and he doesn't enough. So these two are going to be swapping places all the way through the race. Well, Hirakram wants to gain as many points back on Bruce Lee. Obviously, I'm aware that Hirakram didn't attend last week's races, or was unable to for whatever reason. So Hirakram has to try and gain as many points as he possibly can in these upcoming rounds. Bruce Lee's back up into third place rather. Jainio's back into 5th, I should be saying realistically. There's P. Gibb in 6th place, and JPH is just almost on the back of this quartet. He's taking Duskiver with him. KZ2 has just struggling to hold on to that pace. And Hirakram's going to look to the outside line this time around. Almost goes into the wall. Big twitch from the car. Is he going to try and do the switch back? Ruddo can't keep it tight enough. Hirakram's going to be on the inside. Ruddo trying to keep a line as tight as possible to compromise Hirakram, which has worked. Gets himself back through underneath Hirakram and retakes the lead through turn 4, but Hirakram's going to bounce back as well. Ruddo excessively defensive. He's on the inside line now as they approach turn 6, on the brakes, down into 3rd gear. 2nd gear now for Hirakram. He can't quite get the car turned in the way he wanted to. Ruddo now leading the way. There's big news for Bruce Lee. He needs Hirakram to finish in 2nd place realistically. Only be 3 points gained in the championship, so he'd still keep his advantage. Matty Rudd, Jainio, there's Pete Gibb. JPH was catching up, but he's lost a bit of ground. And Hirakram and Ruddo are side by side again, but we're going to just concentrate on these 4, because Bruce Lee having to go ultra defensive. You can see Hirakram and Ruddo going side by side going into turn 1, and Matty Rudd actually hitting the back of Bruce Lee Harden, so deciding a bit of tactics going on there between the two, but Bruce Lee's gone deep, as has Jainio into the wall, and P. Gibb moves up to 5th place. Everyone ran wide. Bruce Lee started it all off. Then Matty Rudd went wide, and then Jainio went even further and hit the wall as a result. But currently, Bruce Lee's still holding on to 3rd place. He's going to want as many points as he can for his championship. Ruddo still in front of Hirakram. These two running away with it at the moment. They're 5 seconds clear of this quartet of cars. JPH and Duskiver a little bit further back in 7th and 8th. And Bruce Lee once again. It's going to be under threat from Matty Rudd and P. Gibb. What about Hirakram? Can he make a move up the inside of Ruddo? Whoa, nice little dummy from Hirakram, but he's got himself underneath, which is where he's wanted to be the whole time. And he's got it stopped on the apex as well, and he's almost kept the lead. It's going to be exceptionally close now coming through turn 2. Will Ruddo look to make a lunge? He doesn't. He slots in behind. Bruce Lee still in 3rd. Matty Rudd in 4th. P. Gibb 5th. Jainho right there in 6th place. He might need a little bit of time to recalibrate his attacks. Only coming up to the halfway mark in this race so far. Oh, Jainho. The blue and orange fast car nearly became a black and blue fast car. There's JPH there in 7th position. He's defending from Deskyver. Having a good run, Deskyver, in the championship. Week upon week, he's getting faster and faster. But Blue Moon is quite a momentum-based circuit. Not one that we visited before, so for a number of the drivers, they've just got to try and get acquainted with the track. Maybe an opportunity for Deskyver and JPH in race 2. There's KZ2 Haas. He'll be looking to just get some laps in and try and set some consistent lap times. Has got into the 1:09s, which is better than his qualifying pace. It's good news for him. Hirakram's still in front of Ruddo. New personal best from Hirakram on that last lap, a 1:08.5. Ruddo still with the fastest lap, and Hirakram setting a new fastest first sector. Bruce Lee still has Matty Rudd, and Jainho now has replaced P. Gibb in 5th position. Deskyver's up to 7th. We haven't seen that. He's got past JPH. I was suspecting down the straight. But at the minute, Bruce Lee still holding on to 3rd. And there won't be any tactics from Jainho. He'll want to go as far forward as he can. Oh, Bruce Lee with an exceptionally wide line. It's actually compromised Matty Rudd coming out of turn number 8. And Jainho's going to be right there on the pair of them. And he's got a very good run. Perhaps he's caught Matty Rudd too early, coming through turn 9 and 10, and he's actually into the back of Matty Rudd to push him along. Will help them with the slipstream, running down towards turn 1, but this is going to be so difficult for the drivers to pull off. So Bruce Lee already on the inside line. Ruddo's got back past Hirakram in the meantime. But Matty Rudd looking to the outside line. Jainho trying to go round. Matty Rudd trying to go the long way around Bruce Lee hard. And look at Jainho, who's going to try and go underneath the pair of them. Bruce Lee stuck right in the middle of the three of them. This can only end badly if they all try and go for the same corner, and Bruce Lee backs out of it. Matty Rudd up into 3rd place, Jainho 4th. They're still side by side going through turn 4. Which line does Bruce Lee pick? He picks the one on the inside, and that's forced Jainho wide, thanks to Matty Rudd. And P. Gibbs coming through too. Fantastic racing between these 4 drivers. Oh, P. Gibbs just taps the back of Bruce Lee. Keeps it on the circuit, and Jainho, as a result, just about holds on to 5th position. But great racing between the quartet. This is fabulous to watch. Really good action from everyone. They've just lost a little bit of time. Bruce Lee hits the wall coming out of turn 9. This last part coming past this yellow inside curb there, or rather the inside painting of the tarmac. That's turn 10. And Bruce Lee, I think Bruce Lee's going to be a little bit too far back this time around to mount an attack on Matty Rudd. He just watches as he closes the gap, but nothing doing for him there. So he'll have to wait another lap, wait for the slipstream train to start off again. And these 4 have been fighting so hard that the front duo are almost 8 seconds clear now. So brilliant racing, but they are compromising themselves, and that's something to keep an eye out for race 2 when the battles are going on around the circuit. Bruce Lee just defending from Jainho. Ruddo and Hirakram are still trading places. It will go down to the final lap realistically between these two who's going to take the win. Oh, Matty Rudd's managed to get a little bit of a gap to Bruce Lee and Jainho. These two still fighting really hard. And actually, Matty Rudd might just have the chance to break the toe here, because Jainho and P. Gibb are right behind Bruce Lee Harding. If these 3 start fighting a little too hard, it'll allow Matty Rudd just to break that final distant toe that he's got at the moment. But fair play to Jainho, just taps the back of Bruce Lee, says let's get on with it, let's catch back up to Matty Rudd. So still all to play for. I just gained them an extra 10th or 2, that little nudge. So Jainho playing the tactician game. Coming up to the final quarter of the race as Bruce Lee sets a new personal best, or rather the fastest lap of the sector of the race. There's Jainho in 5th, there's P. Gibb in 6th. Deskyver and JPH still fighting hard. And KZ2 Haas, he's just running in 9th at the moment. For him, it'll be a case of just getting himself knuckled down with the times. He runs a little bit deep going into turn 4. Hirakam leading the way now, this time from Ruddo. Watch their battle as they come down the main straight. Matty Rudd still has a little bit of an advantage to Bruce Lee. See if Ruddo can make any form of impression on the race leader. Long-time championship leader until tonight's round of events, but Ruddo's going to look to the inside line at turn 1. It's going to limit. Oh, Hirakam went wider than I've seen him so far. I thought he was going to hit the wall. Just about held on. Bruce Lee didn't quite make the inroads that was expected, and he's run wide at turn 1. Jainio looking potentially at a move, but he just sits in behind again. Matty Rudd now will be doing everything he can to just hold on to another podium this season. He's been fantastic, Matty Rudd, at collecting podiums. Oh, Hirakam a little bit sideways coming out of turn 6. And that's Bruce Lee and Jainio briefly side by side. P. Gibbs just dropped back a little bit from this fight. Just watching Bruce Lee taking a wider line compared to Jainio there. And Hirakam's up the inside of Ruddo already. I think a little bit of tactician play going on now between the two. Ruddo went very wide through the banking out the final corner. It's going to be on the inside once again for turn number 1, the 15th lap that we go on to now. And Ruddo braking just a little bit earlier. Keeps it nice and tidy. Hirakam will have the momentum coming off the corner, but he's going to be on the outside line. Well, he looks to go around the outside, he doesn't, so Hirakam slots back into second. Bit of gamesmanship now between these two. Matty Rudd's third, Jainio's up to 4th. Not ideal for Bruce Lee, he needs to be 4th or 3rd. He's going to lose a lot of positions, or rather a lot of points in the championship to Hirakam. Bruce Lee will know that, but Hirakam again looking to go and attack Ruddo going into turn 6. It's really difficult to know where to look in this race so far. There's been a lot of battles. Well, Matty Rudd, can he pull away? Since Jainio overtook Bruce Lee, he's actually cut the gap down by almost 3/10. Maybe Jainio can drag Bruce Lee along for one last final crack at the podium. P. Gibbs back within a second as well. He'll be there to pick up the pieces if anything goes wrong. JPH in 7th position currently. I believe this will be JPH's last run on the wheel, I believe, due to personal circumstances, so see how he's getting on. Here's Duskiver. KZ2 has still. That's Ruddo being overtaken by Hirakam going through turn 2. Great racing between everyone so far tonight. Really, really competitive. Oh, that's Hirakam running wide at turn 4. Ruddo senses the opportunity to lunge it down the inside at turn 6. It's on the inside. Hirakam giving little to no room. And he's just about holding on to that lead, and he's done so brilliantly. 2 more laps after this one for the drivers. Matty Rudd still in 3rd. Jainio's trying to close that gap, taking that tighter line. P. Gibbs up to 5th, so it's gone wrong for Bruce Lee. Maybe tactical from Bruce Lee potentially at this stage, although I think he's going to go for 5th place at the inside of P. Gibb. In fact, P. Gibb knows he's hit the wall there. That's not going to help him. Jainio, he's under a second now. He's got 2 laps to make an impression on Matty Rudd. Hirakam is trying to go around the outside. Ruddo's leading, going to be leading as well going into turn 2, which he does. But this next lap, this final lap is going to be crucial between these 2 cars. You know, this lap we're on currently, this is going to set it up for the final time. And these 2 will certainly want to be in the prime position, which is 2nd place realistically, going onto the back straight. But Hirakam in the right position. He's just sat in behind. He's got a nice run coming out of turn number 8. What will his exit be like through turn 9? He's got a fantastic run. Ruddo quite slow out of it, and in fact Ruddo, here he goes. He's going to play his tactical game. He's going to switch back underneath Hirakam for the slipstream down towards turn 1. Oh, he's going to look to the outside, the inside, and the outside again. But he hasn't got the momentum, the run that he would have wanted. So Hirakam can run it out wide through turn 1 if he needs to. I haven't seen anyone go around the outside before. And Ruddo's going to look to do the switchback underneath at turn 1. This is a great move. And that's brilliant for Ruddo. He needs that to get into the lead. He's going to just stop Hirakram going into turn 2. So he's got the lead on this final lap. Hirakram still there in second. He's got one more opportunity realistically, and that's coming down into turn 6. We'll ride on board with these two. Hirakram on the outside. He's going to go round the outside at turn 6. Will Ruddo just open the steering? He does. And that forces Hirakram out wide. It's going to have to be a monumental effort coming out of turn 9 for Hirakram now to get the run that he needs. Matty Rudd and Jainho really close. We'll keep an eye on them in a second. All comes down to this final corner. It's going to be so close. Here comes Hirakram then on the run out of turn number 10. He's going to swing to the outside line, but Ruddo places his car there and puts him in the wall. It's going to be Ruddo 24 who takes the victory. That's an interesting way to finish the race with Hirakram second. Will Matty Rudd hold on for third position? He just will cover it off. Jainho fourth. Bruce Lee will take fifth in the end. P. Gibbs sixth. JPH and Duskiver, this is going to be to the line. Who's going to get there first? It's going to be just about JPH. Oh, by 100th of a second, with Duskiver 8th and KZ2 Haas 9th. But that is the first race of tonight, and well done to Ruddo 24. Has to be said, it'll be interesting to see what the stewards think of that final corner move, because Hirakram did end up in the wall. But we will see. We'll see what happens there. Going to be fascinating for the drivers to discuss on that one. So, very good race. Hirakram putting a comment in there saying it was a good race, so maybe he's not too aggrieved about it after all. But great racing from the drivers. So race 2 starting in a few minutes time. So at 20:43 we always have a brief break, and I get to change the settings as well. 15-minute race, we changed the room mode. First grid based on previous race results, changed the art. There we go, so everyone gets the chance to enter in once more. But it was a really good race that in the end. I thought that the battle between the front two was really clean and respectful. Bit of an interesting way to finish it off with Hirakram in the wall. Whether anything will be said about that, we'll soon find out. But wonderful fighting for third position with the 4 cars of P. Gibb, obviously Jainho, Bruce Lee Harding, and of course the man who got the podium in the end, Matty Rudd. And Hirakram just saying maybe actually, in fact, there was a bit of lag going on, so that might need to be looked at potentially by the stewards at the end of the race, or rather after the races tonight. But we'll wait for a few moments before we start off with race 2. We're just having a look at the comments from what the drivers are saying at the moment. But hopefully everyone can hear me on the stream. But it was great racing. Jainho just putting a comment there saying let them get away. Yeah, it seemed to be that was the situation right at the start. And you know, those front two, of course, Hirakram and Ruddo, always going to be the odds-on favourite in terms of raw speed. this season. They have shown off their wonderful ability, but that fighting early on just caused the huge gap, and that was it. Once you lost the slipstream around this circuit, that's that. And Janio saying me and Bruce could have been with them. You could have been, absolutely. Both, you know, Janio, especially I saw you with your lap times before, were very close. Very close in terms of the lap time to the front two, so maybe an opportunity to be presented with itself in race 2, which will start in a couple of minutes time. And yeah, P Gibb saying 4/10 on the straight. It was rather powerful around there. And good news, everyone can hear me on the stream, which is positive. I always have a little bit of a worry when I'm changing about with my mic settings, but everyone can hear me. But in terms of the championship standings, that's going to make for interesting viewing now. If we have a look here in terms of what the championship standings were heading into the event, Bruce Lee Harding was obviously leading the championship. He was on 232. Hirakram was second on 223. Ruddo 24 was in third in 219. P Gibb was fourth on 159. Matty Rudd was fifth on 139. Sixth was Skiver on 139 as well. So joint fifth between Matty Rudd and Skiver. Seventh was JPH on 123. Eighth was Martin JL09 on 93 points. There's KZ2 Haas on 9th position on 86. Dominator 3, 10th on 85. With Jainio 11th on 68 points. So the top 3 now have really closed in together in terms of the points. Now obviously factoring in there are drop scores for this season as well, which will be taken into account. So that could benefit a couple of drivers in different ways. And I know that Ruddo's obviously missed a round earlier on this season. I believe Hirakram missed last week, and I don't know about Bruce Lee if he's missed any rounds this season. I don't believe he has actually, and his lowest scores would probably drop him right into the clutches of Hirakram and Ruddo. So going to be fascinating over these next 5 races. Obviously we've got one more tonight, and then we've got 2 more rounds after this one. We've got Fuji next week, and then the Red Bull Ring to round us off for the season, which will be very good. And Gibb was just saying in the comments there, I was clinging on. Qualifying was his practice session apparently, so not ideal practice for P Gibb, but nevertheless got himself a good result. We'll put him in a good position for race 2, and it'll come down to who can break away at the start. Obviously KZ2 Haas will be the man on pole. Skiver will be lined up on second place. JPH third on the grid, with P Gibb in 4th. So that'll be very interesting to watch for the drivers to see how they combat that. You know, there's a lot of overtaking opportunities around this circuit, but as we saw in that last race, if a driver gets the chance to run away with the race lead, then they can break away from that, and that's going to be very important to factor in. So we're just waiting on Jainio to enter the race, and then we'll be underway in less than 60 seconds hopefully. I'm really looking forward to this 15-minute sprint, and a very good addition to the Méganes. Do like the intensity of what this final race brings, and Jainio has now entered, which is brilliant. And yeah, Jainio making the comment in the game chat there, a lot of closing up at turn 6, which is the second hairpin. You know, there's a lot of that going on, and that's going to be something to factor in during the sprint race. But the time has ticked over to 20:43, so we'll put race start now. Drivers have all entered. We'll just double check the event settings to make sure that everything's okay, which it is. Let's get things underway. Round 8, race 2, about to begin. As P Gibb drives backwards. Not ideal lines. Here we go then, into race 2. So, for the reverse grid race, it's the blue and white cars on the front row, but on the right-hand side it's KZ2 Haas in that Adrian Flux car and Duskiver on the left in the ITG car. JPH and P Gibb in the Bumblebee respective cars will be watching their lines as well at the start, but there's 15 minutes on the right-hand side. Here come the numbers. And the race is live from Blue Moon in Field A. It's not a great start for Duskiver. He drops backwards. JPH is up to second. P Gibbs third. Duskiver getting absolutely swamped at the start. He's down to fifth. Bruce Lee with a great start up to fourth position. Bruce Lee looking to try and go the inside of P Gibb. Can he make that move stick and up into third place? If he can, that's vital for Bruce Lee Harden. He gets into third place. There's Gibb there. Then there's Matty Ruggiero fighting around. Hirakram and Ruddo. Duskiver's gone falling all the way down the field. Not at all a good start for him. He's down to 8th place. Haas still leads, but JPH is going to be on the inside going into turn 6. He's got his nose along the inside, and they break down into turn 6. Bruce Lee gets a little touch in the back from P Gibb, and now Bruce Lee's trying to go around the outside. This is going to be 3 wide going into turn 7. This is going to be complex between other cars. Bruce Lee's going to lose out. He was on the outside line and he drops to 4th. Don't think he's going to have the momentum to get past, and sure enough he doesn't. But frenetic start so far. We got the camera angle so we can have a look at it, and KZ2 Haas went so wide through turn 10. That's not going to help him at all. JPH with the slipstream. P Gibb will have the double toe. Bruce Lee's going to have the triple toe. Matty Rudd will have the quadruple toe. Absolutely amazing. It's going to be 3 wide as they come into it. Bruce Lee hits JPH a little bit further forward going into turn 1. This is going to be unbelievable. Matty Rudd flies through the middle of them. KZ2 Haas gets himself through. Matty Rudd with a brilliant overtake there up to third. There's a bit of contact between the two championship protagonists, but Bruce Lee's gone sideways. He's in the grass. Hirakram's into the grass. Haas is in the wall as well. How they all got through that, I've no idea. Ruddo's still on the grass a little bit. He clips the outside of Jane. It certainly wasn't intentional. And now Hirakram's going to try and go up the outside of everyone else. There's Ruddo still there. There's JPH in the lead currently. Matty Rudd's fighting exceptionally hard with P Gibb at the moment, and they're all line astern. KZ2 Haas is just about hanging on to this field despite going into the wall, but JPH has got a lead at the moment, and everyone else will be absolutely scrambling to get up to the back of him. Matty Rudd with a really good exit. Will P Gibb go defensive into turn 1? He doesn't. He likes to pick the middle of the road, in fact. Gives Bruce Lee a nice toe coming towards turn 1. But at the moment, Matty Rudd looks like he's going to seal that position, which he does. P Gibb not fighting too hard on the entrance, but looks to do the switchback underneath at turn 1. Can he get alongside? He has done indeed. He's going to be on the inside for turn 2. Will he go through? He doesn't. They run side by side, and Matty Rudd's gone onto the grass. That's going to cost him 2 positions, potentially. No, just the 1. He's actually forced his brother out wide, and Hirakram gets past Ruddo. So brotherly love not going on at this circuit. And now Matty Rudd is on the... And now Matty Rudd is going to get overtaken by Ruddo once again, so maybe they are working in tandem in a really peculiar circumstance. And Matty Rudd forces Ruddo wide and gets back through, and Jainio now trying to get involved. So these 4 really fighting hard, really giving it as best as he can, and Matty Rudd's into the wall now, and that's going to allow Hirakram through, and that's the momentum that he needed. Ruddo, apologies for any background noise, Ruddo's trying to find a way through. He's going to use the slipstream if he can. You can see P Gibb and Bruce Lee trying to go side by side, and Ruddo pushing his brother forward. Wants to keep him in front of Hirakram at least. They're side by side through turn 1. Ruddo's going to try and go to the inside line this time around. Can he get past his brother? It looks like he will do. It's going to be alongside Hirakram, half and half. But Ruddo is up into 5th place after all that. And amazingly, they only lost 1.2 to the cars in front as JPH runs wide, and he's going to lose the lead to P Gibb. So P Gibb gets himself into the lead. And how the championship tables will be changing all the time. P Gibb now runs wide. The 2 Bumblebee cars side by side going into turn 7. JPH trying to get the exit, but he can't. Hirakram's already closed the gap. This is going to be an 8 car, well, Haas is right there as well, so you can't rule him out. A 9-car fight for the lead with 10 minutes to go. JPH goes through, but P. Gibb will just use the slipstream, just nudges into the back of JPH, and Bruce Lee assisting with that as well. Now he's on the inside, but brakes earlier. The gamesmanship has begun. Hirakram currently in 4th place, just watching all of this go on. Will Bruce Lee look to the inside? He doesn't. But P. Gibb ran a little bit too wide there. Gets himself too wide, in fact. It's going to be under pressure from Hirakram as Bruce Lee goes past. Hirakram just holds on to the line. He's in 4th now. Ruddo trying to go through the middle there at the moment, through turn 6. He just gets a little nudge from Matty Rudd, and he's got to go past Hirakram. How important is that for the championship? Ruddo goes past Hirakram and keeps the position, so he's up into 4th place. Bruce Lee is in 2nd currently. Will he work together with his family member, of course? Those two, of course, related, uncle and nephew in that regard. So Bruce Lee and JPH, family fortunes at the front. How they'll play that one out as Ruddo looks to go to the inside of P. Gibb. Hirakram can't find a way through. That was well defended from Ruddo, but Matty Rudd now gets a huge tow from the cars in front of him. A little bit of a shake from everybody. Hirakram with a fantastic line. He's not just going to get Matty Rudd, he's going to get P. Gibb. Good racecraft from Hirakram. Gets himself up into 4th, and Matty Rudd goes through. Gibb goes just too wide. He's going to lose a place to Jainio as well. To Skyver, KZ2 has just dropped off the back a little bit. JPH still leads, but Bruce Lee moves through. JPH slots in behind. So now everyone back together again. The top 7 covered by 2 seconds. Absolutely fabulous racing. And they're all looking for a little different part of the circuit. They're all trying to fight over that same piece of tarmac. And Hirakram looking to take a tighter line, but he's lost a little bit of momentum. That's going to really cost him. Into slipstream of Ruddo. He could have been a little bit closer there. 8 minutes to go in this race, and everyone now looking for those moves just to settle themselves for a final assault on maybe a podium or even the race win. JPH just sitting behind Bruce Lee Harden. He's happy to be there as Ruddo goes for a late break into turn 1. Gets a little nudge from the back of Hirakram, which will help him out. But currently, fantastic racing. Matty Rudd, he's just sat in 5th place. Jainio's there, P. Gibbs there as well. Any one of these cars can win the race right now. And in all honesty, Hirakram tried to make a late move on the back of Ruddo. Just made the little error, hit the back of him. Kept him behind the Geisen car in the end, and JPH just blocking going into turn 8. Ruddo saw a small opportunity to try and attack without having pressure from Hirakram, but he didn't quite pull it off. And JPH has just lost the wheel track a little bit of Bruce Lee. He will pick up a slipstream, but he's only going to start picking it up round about now, whereas Ruddo is already closing the gap on him, so it's going to be difficult to watch as Matty Rudd has got past Hirakram coming out of the final corner. JPH, how defensive do you want to go? Ruddo's on the inside of the tarmac. Can he get his car at the inside? JPH trying to make it as difficult as he possibly can. Here comes Hirakram. Here comes Jainio. Wow, what a move from everyone. How they've all got through that so far, I've no idea. But Jainio looking to go up into 2nd place from 6th. And he's done it. What a fantastic move. Wow, I've never seen that before. 4 cars overtaken in 1 corner. That has to be a record. Jainio, ever the opportunist, gets himself from 6th to 2nd in the space of 3 seconds. That's incredible. Jainio now is the man to take up the mantle to Bruce Lee because he's gapped everyone. He's broken the slipstream, and Ruddo in 3rd will be thinking to himself, I thought I had that. And he hasn't now. JPH, I was praising Jainio for going from 6th to 2nd. Well, JPH went from 2nd to 6th. So they swapped places. And he's got P. Gibb all over the back of him as well. Just cut forward a little bit. Look at this train going towards turn number 1. In fact, Hirakram giving Jainio a little nudge towards turn 1. See if he can brake a little later, hang it around the outside. Oh, they lean on each other, but Ruddo's going to get through, and Janio's into the wall. Matty Rudd's got past Hirakram, and Matty Rudd moves into third. So Matty Rudd, a brilliant racecraft from everyone. I've got to say that it's been really fabulous driving from everyone on the grid, as Janio runs a little bit wide out of turn 4. It's been brilliant to watch. Hirakram's trying to go for a move at turn 6, but Janio has just pushed Matty Rudd wide. I have to say that's second time tonight we've seen that, and Matty Rudd just... Oh, there's a little bit more contact. Not ideal. Hirakram gets forced down to 5th. He was the innocent party in all of that. But Ruddo's escaped as a result, and he's got 4.5 minutes to break that toe that Bruce Lee had briefly had. He had a gap away from everyone. Bruce Lee now has an advantage less than a second. We know Ruddo's quick, and look at that, new fastest lap. He is on his way, and Bruce Lee must be cursing his luck right now as Hirakram looks to go at the inside of Matty Rudd, but Matty Rudd's gone so wide at turn 1. He's not going to keep 4th. He doesn't, and just about slots in front of P. Gibb. And JPH is going to look at the inside of P. Gibb, and Duskiver getting involved now as well for 7th place, and Duskiver goes through. Absolutely frenetic racing from everybody. Everyone just about keeping it within the regulations. Look how far back Matty Rudd's come from. He slides up the inside from the lap before that to take that. Janio is what he's saying there. He wasn't happy with Janio's overtake before, but then he runs wide at turn 8. Gets forced wide. I'm not really sure why Matty Rudd... What is Matty Rudd doing? That's certainly not the type of attitude you want to see. In fact, he's running to the back of Janio again. Janio should have given the position back to begin with. However, retaliation beyond that. Need to keep it at that. But there's a gap and a fight for the race leaders. Ruddo goes to the inside, and he's going to take the lead at turn 1. He gets the move signed, sealed and delivered. These two have got 2 seconds to Hirakram. Bruce Lee just backs off from the back of Ruddo. The lights flashed from Ruddo 24 then, just to say work with us. Still 2 minutes and 54 seconds to go. These two can't fight because Hirakram will catch them, and JPH is up at 4th, so really good racing from JPH so far. Matty Rudd in 5th, Duskiver in 6th place, Janio 7th, and there's P. Gibb in 8th. Janio's been shuffled down the order. Duskiver's got himself back into a nice mid-pack fight. 2 minutes 26 on the clock. Going to be very close in terms of lap time. How many laps we get left as JPH clips the wall. It's going to put him under pressure from Matty. Hirakram, there they go. Car's just coming over the line now. So 1 minute 9, 1 minute 10. 1 minute 9 from Bruce Lee. So there'll be another lap after this one. JPH defending from Matty Rudd, who looks to go around the outside at turn 1. JPH just holding the inside line. Looks like he's got a good run as well. And JPH might just hold on to 4th position here. Although Matty Rudd's going to try and hang it all the way around the outside. He's going to be on the inside for turn 4. Going to have to try and get through this as best as he can. And that's JPH wide, and Duskiver's looking for a move. Looking potentially for 4th place. And here comes Janio as well. Janio trying to make a move. He's hit the back of Duskiver. Duskiver up into 4th, but he's going to slide out wide. P. Gibb now trying to go around the outside and off Janio. 5 cars all fighting for the same piece of tarmac, but Matty Rudd now up into 4th. Duskiver very briefly was running in a, what would be, if he finished in 4th place, his best result of the season. He's right in the mix. It's going to be one. This will be the final lap. And where is Bruce Lee in relation to Ruddo? There he is. He's closing the gap in the slipstream. Up into 6th gear. Ruddo will move to the inside. Of course he will. Bruce Lee looks to the outside line. These two, now the gloves are off on this final lap. Ruddo holding the inside line. Bruce trying to look to take a tighter line on the exit, but he's not quite got the run he would have wanted. Matty Rudd holding on the back. He's just not covered the line off quite enough. JPH, can he run it up the inside? He can't. Matty Rudd was aggressive on his turning, keeps 4th position. Duskiver Still, well, he gets a little touch in the back from Janio. What about back at the front? Bruce Lee's not quite close enough. Ruddo just keeping as tight a line as he possibly can. Is Ruddo going to take back-to-back victories? There's JPH just in 5th. Duskiver's still in 6th place. Janio sideways almost on the grass. It's all going to come down to this final corner. Let's see what they can do then. Bruce Lee runs it up to the outside line. He's going to have the slipstream. He's going to have one shot at this. He's got to make his line right as he comes towards the line. The timer ticks over. It's confirmed as the final lap. Here comes Bruce Lee towards the line, but I think he's just going to come up too short. It's going to be Ruddo 24 who just takes it on the line from Bruce Lee Harding. Here comes 3rd. Matty Rudd's going to hold on for 4th. JPH 5th. Duskiver, great result for 6th. Janio 7th in the end with P-Gib 8th. And KZ2 Haas right there in 9th place. Wow, that was absolutely fantastic. Ruddo takes it by less than half a tenth. And it's a double victory for Ruddo 24. And that is going to put him right into the thick of the championship fight now. It's going to be fascinating to see how the drop scores play out with that one. Bruce Lee, the championship leader heading into the event, and I believe will still be leading coming out of the event, finishing 2nd place. Hirakam in 3rd. But what a race that was. That was absolutely fantastic. Loads of action all the way through from the drivers. Wow, absolutely brilliant. Really good fighting all the way through the midfield. Little bit of a odd moments between Matty Rudd and Janio, which I'm sure will be looked at after the race. But outside of that, it was really, really good fun to watch. Drivers performing at the top of their game there. As ever, the Mégane's always competitive. But next week is a real test of the drivers' mettle and ability. They'll be heading off to round 9, the penultimate round of the season, at Fuji Speedway, which is always a good track, always promotes a lot of fighting on the GP loop. So do tune in on this channel, same time next week, of course. But for this week, that's it from the Renault Mégane Trophy here with Power Max Racing, hosted by the NXTGEN. Of course, make sure you check out NXTGEN on all of our social media channels, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and of course on the nextgenracing.co.uk website. But from me, JackTM53, thank you very much for watching, and wherever you might be in the big wide world, have a good one. See you soon.